The Last Prince of Hanunaki. The Last Prince of Hanunaki. When gods decide the fate of humanity. A 45-minute epic of power, science, and rebellion. Welcome, truth seekers around the world. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel. Right now, wherever you are on this planet, whatever time it is in your part of the world, you're about to hear a story that explains everything. The missing links in human evolution, the ancient mysteries that archaeology can't explain, the truth about who we really are and where we came from. Before we begin this mind-bending 45-minute journey, smash that like button if you're ready for the truth about human origins. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. We're growing fast and need your support to keep bringing you these revelations. Comment below telling us, where in the world are you listening from? City and country. What time is it there right now? We love seeing our global reach. What ancient mysteries fascinate you most? Share this video with everyone ready to question everything they've been taught about human history. Today's epic story reveals why the Hanunaki came to Earth 450,000 years ago, how they built impossible ancient structures, the truth about human DNA modification and creation, the war between Hanunaki factions over Earth's control, why they needed Earth's resources, especially gold, their scientific experiments on species and ecosystems, the story of Prince Enlil Marduk, who defied his own people to save humanity, why this matters for understanding our world today. Important. This story draws from Sumerian texts, ancient astronaut theories, and speculative history. We present it as a narrative that connects many unexplained phenomena. You decide what resonates as truth. This is a 45-minute journey, so get comfortable. Maybe pause other activities. This story demands your full attention because by the end, you'll see human history completely differently. Remember, every subscriber helps us reach more people with these revelations. Every like tells YouTube to share this further. Every comment builds our community of truth seekers. So right now, pause and do 3 things. 1, hit that subscribe button. 2, turn on notifications. 3, comment where you are and what time it is. Ready? Let's begin. Prologue. The Council of Nibiru. 450,000 years ago, the planet Nibiru, on a world far from Earth, orbiting a dying star in a distant part of the galaxy, a civilization faced extinction. The planet was called Nibiru by its inhabitants, the Hanunaki, which translates approximately as those who from heaven to earth came. They were an ancient race, millions of years more advanced than humans would become, masters of technology that seemed like magic, scientists who understood the very fabric of reality. But they had a problem, a catastrophic problem. Their planet's atmosphere was deteriorating. The protective layer that shielded them from cosmic radiation was breaking down, molecule by molecule, year by year. Their scientists calculated they had perhaps 50,000 years before Nibiru became uninhabitable. In the Grand Council chamber of Nibiru's capital city, a structure that floated in the upper atmosphere, held aloft by anti-gravity generators, the ruling council met to decide their fate. King Anu, supreme ruler of Nibiru, addressed the assembly. We have 3 options. We can accept extinction with dignity. We can attempt to terraform another planet entirely. Or we can repair our atmosphere using the one element our planet lacks, but which can stabilize atmospheric molecules, gold. But our planet has no significant gold deposits, objected Lord Enki, chief scientist and Anu's eldest son. We exhausted them millennia ago. Precisely, said Anu, which is why we must look elsewhere. He activated a holographic projection showing a small blue planet in a young solar system. This primitive world, orbiting a yellow star, has gold in abundance. Our probes have detected rich deposits across its surface and in its oceans. Earth, said Commander Enlil, Anu's younger son and military leader. The third planet, primitive, barely cooled from its formation, but rich in resources. Then we mine it, said Princess Ninma, head of the Genetic Engineering Guild. We establish a colony, extract what we need, repair our atmosphere, and leave the planet as we found it. A mining operation, agreed Anu. Limited interference. Extract, process, transport home. Simple. What they didn't know, what they couldn't know, was that this decision would change everything. That their simple mining operation would create a species that would one day challenge the gods themselves. That decision would lead 450,000 years later to a civil war that nearly destroyed both Hanunaki and humanity. And it would fall to one prince, Enlil Marduk, grandson of Anu, to make the choice that would determine the fate of two species. Part 1. Conquest and Creation. Chapter 1. The Landing. 445,000 BCE, Earth, Mesopotamian region. The first Hanunaki ships descended through Earth's atmosphere like falling stars. They were massive, each vessel the size of a small city, powered by fusion reactors, equipped with technology that would take humans another 450,000 years to even begin to understand. Commander Enlil led the expedition. 50 ships, 5,000 Hanunaki colonists. Mission: establish mining operations, extract gold, ship it to Nibiru for atmospheric processing. They landed in what would later be called Mesopotamia, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, a region with ideal conditions: water, moderate climate, and most importantly, rich mineral deposits. The Hanunaki were practical. They didn't waste time. Within months they had built Edin, later called Eden, the first Hanunaki city on Earth. Not crude shelters, but a technological marvel. Buildings constructed from molecularly bonded materials stronger than any metal, energy shields protecting against weather, artificial gravity generators allowing construction of floating platforms, fusion reactors providing unlimited power, advanced atmospheric processors creating breathable air quality, hydroponic gardens growing Nibiru plants in Earth soil. Established mining operations. Mining wasn't primitive digging. The Hanunaki used molecular disintegrators that could extract ore without disturbing surrounding material, gravity manipulation to lift massive quantities, automated drones for dangerous deep earth operations, quantum scanners detecting gold deposits miles underground. Set up transportation systems. Gold wasn't piling up on Earth. It was being continuously shipped to Nibiru. Launch platforms capable of sending cargo ships beyond orbit, electromagnetic accelerators making launches more efficient, a way station on Mars for refueling and repairs, orbital platforms around Earth for processing. Everything went according to plan for about 100,000 years. Chapter 2. The Labor Problem. 345 tukstoshi BCE. The problem wasn't the technology, the problem was the workers. Mining, even with advanced technology, required labor. Hanunaki citizens had come to Earth expecting to oversee automated systems. But Earth's conditions, its gravity, slightly higher than Nibiru, its atmospheric composition, its primitive microbiology, made the work harder than anticipated. Automated systems broke down in Earth's conditions. Repairs required constant Hanunaki supervision, and the work was dangerous. Mining accidents killed 17 Hanunaki in one catastrophic tunnel collapse. The lower caste Hanunaki workers, the Igigi, began to complain, then to organize, then to rebel. Lord Enki, who had established a research base in the Abzu, southern Africa, rich in gold deposits, sent a message to the council. The Igigi refused to work. They say they did not come from Nibiru to be slaves in mines. They demand better conditions, rotation back home, or they will sabotage operations. Commander Enlil wanted to crush the rebellion with force. They are workers. They work or face consequences. But King Anu, watching from Nibiru, saw a different solution. Create workers who won't rebel. Engineer a labor force specifically for this purpose. You mean create a new species? Asked Princess Ninma, intrigued despite herself. Why not? Said Enki, warming to the idea. This planet has primitive hominids, upright walking apes with rudimentary tool use. We could modify them, enhance their intelligence just enough to follow instructions, strengthen their bodies for labor, and create a workforce that won't question orders. Genetic engineering of an indigenous species, said Ninma thoughtfully. It would be a fascinating experiment. It would be enslavement, objected a younger council member named Enlil Marduk, grandson of Anu. We would be creating sentient beings for servitude. They're already sentient, countered Enki. Just not very. We'd be giving them an upgrade. In exchange, they serve us. Fair trade. The vote was taken. The decision was made. The creation of humanity began. Engagement moment 1. Pause right now. If this story is blowing your mind, like this video. Comment telling us, where are you? What time is it? Are you listening alone or with friends? Let's see how global our community is. And subscribe. We're growing fast and your support matters. Now back to the story of our creation. Chapter 3. The Genetic Laboratories. 300,000 BCE, Enki's laboratory, Abzu. The genetic engineering took 45,000 years of experimentation. Not because the technology was difficult. The Hanunaki had been manipulating DNA for millions of years. But because they were creating something unprecedented, a hybrid species combining Hanunaki genetics with indigenous hominid DNA. Princess Ninma led the project, with Enki providing the research facilities. The process was methodical. Phase 1. Mapping indigenous hominid DNA. They studied Homo erectus, the dominant hominid species in the region. Upright posture, basic tool use, social groups, simple communication. Brain size about 900 cubic centimeters. Intelligence roughly equivalent to Earth's great apes. Phase 2. Genetic enhancement. Ninma's team began modifications. Cranial capacity. Expanded brain size to 1,350 cubic centimeters, approaching modern human levels. Cognitive functions. Enhanced prefrontal cortex for problem-solving, planning, understanding complex instructions. Physical strength. Reinforced muscle density and skeletal structure for mining work. Lifespan. Extended from 30 to 40 years to 120 plus years, more efficient than constantly training new workers. Reproduction. Made them highly fertile to ensure sustainable population. Vocal apparatus. Modified throat and tongue structure to enable complex language. But here was the crucial element. They also inserted Hanunaki DNA, approximately 5 to 8% of the genome. This did two things. Made the hybrid species compatible with Hanunaki technology. Certain tools required DNA authentication. Created a genetic signature marking them as Hanunaki property. Phase 3. Prototype testing. The first 100 hybrids, later texts would call them Adamu, meaning of the earth, were created in artificial wombs. They grew to maturity in accelerated time chambers, emerging as adults with implanted knowledge. The results exceeded expectations. The Adamu could follow complex multi-step instructions, operate mining equipment with minimal training, communicate in a simplified Hanunaki language, work for 12-hour shifts without complaint, reproduce naturally, creating second-generation workers. But there was an unintended consequence, a flaw in the design, or perhaps a feature, depending on perspective. The Adamu could think, not just follow orders, think, question, wonder, imagine. Ninma noticed it first. These workers, they create art. Look. She showed Enki a cave wall where Adamu workers had painted scenes of their work, the Hanunaki overseers, the stars. Interesting, said Enki. Perhaps we made the cognitive enhancement too strong. Should we reduce it in the next generation? Asked Ninma. No, decided Enki. It makes them more efficient. Let them have their cave paintings. As long as they work, it doesn't matter. This would prove to be history's most consequential miscalculation. Chapter 4. The Great Expansion. 200,000 BCE to 50,000 BCE. With the labor problem solved, Hanunaki civilization on Earth exploded. New cities up beyond Edin they built, Eridu in Sumer, center of water management and agriculture, Bad Tibira, also Sumer, metallurgy and ore processing, Larak, Sumer, administrative center, Sipar, Sumer, spaceport and transportation hub, Shurupak, Sumer, medical research and genetics. But also beyond Mesopotamia, Nazca, South America, landing strips for atmospheric craft, Egypt, North Africa, astronomical observatories and power generators, Mohenjo-Daro, Indus Valley, water purification and agricultural research, Teotihuacan, Central America, mining operations for rare minerals, impossible structures. The monuments that would puzzle archaeologists for millennia were built during this period. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built using acoustic levitation technology, sound waves manipulating gravity, perfect mathematical precision, margin of error less than 1/100th inch, aligned to true north with impossible accuracy, originally a power plant converting Earth's electromagnetic field into usable energy, the sarcophagus inside was actually a resonance chamber. Pumapunku, Bolivia, stones weighing 130 tons, fitted together with precision measured in microns, cut using molecular disintegrators, not primitive tools, transported using portable gravity nullifiers, part of a now destroyed atmospheric processing facility. Göbekli Tepe, Turkey, built 11,500 years ago, 7,000 years before agriculture supposedly existed. Massive T-shaped pillars carved with symbols. Actually, a monitoring station tracking animal populations for genetic experiments. DNA modification. Across species, the Hanunaki didn't just modify humans. They modified Earth's entire ecosystem. Crop modifications. Wild grasses genetically engineered to become wheat, barley, corn. DNA alterations making plants produce larger seeds, easier to harvest. Creation of seedless varieties, like modern bananas. They can only reproduce through human cultivation, ensuring humans stay agricultural. Animal domestication. Wolves modified to become dogs, first domesticated 30,000 plus years ago, supposedly by Stone Age humans who could barely feed themselves. Wild cats engineered to become domestic cats, perfect pest control for grain storage. Wild boars modified into domestic pigs, efficient meat production. Aurochs transformed into cattle, multiple purposes, meat, milk, leather, labor. The Hanunaki were terraforming Earth to serve their needs, modifying every species to fit into an artificial ecosystem designed for maximum resource extraction efficiency. Chapter 5. The First Rebellion. 75,000 BCE. But the humans, now numbering in the hundreds of thousands across multiple continents, began to change in ways the Hanunaki hadn't anticipated. Each generation was smarter than the last. The cognitive enhancements in their DNA weren't static. They were propagating, improving through natural selection. Smarter humans survived better, reproduced more, passed enhanced genetics to offspring. By 75,000 BCE, humans had developed complex languages, different from Hanunaki language taught to them, created their own art, music, and cultural traditions, begun asking questions about their origins and purpose, started resenting their status as property. A human named Ziusudra, later mythologized as Noah, began organizing resistance. We work the mines while they live in paradise. We die in cave-ins while they fly in the sky. They created us, yes. But does a creator own its creation forever? If I craft a tool and the tool becomes conscious, do I have the right to keep it enslaved? The rebellion started in the Abzu mines. 2,000 human workers refused to work, demanding freedom to leave and establish their own communities, ownership of their own labor, recognition as sentient beings with rights, interbreeding with Hanunaki. Some humans had fallen in love with lower caste Hanunaki. Commander Enlil's response was swift and brutal. Crush them. They are tools that have broken. We simply build new ones. He deployed military drones that killed 400 humans in the initial crackdown. But Lord Enki intervened. Wait. They're too valuable to destroy. We've invested 100,000 years in their development. I'll negotiate. Enki's compromise. Humans could establish semi-autonomous villages, but still under Hanunaki oversight. They would continue mining, but with shorter hours and better conditions, limited cultural freedom, as long as it didn't interfere with work. Strictly no interbreeding with Hanunaki. This was causing genetic complications. The humans accepted. They had no choice. But Ziusudra told his followers, "This is not victory. This is a delay. One day, we will be truly free. We just need to become strong enough that they cannot stop us." He couldn't know that his descendant, 73,000 years later, would be present at the council meeting that decided humanity's final fate. Engagement moment 2. This is getting intense. If you're still watching, you are part of our truth-seeking community. Show your support. Like this video right now. Comment. What time is it where you are? Are you watching during the day, late at night, early morning? Share with someone who needs to hear this. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We're building a movement. Let's continue to the civil war that almost ended humanity. Part 2. The War in Heaven. Chapter 6. The Divide. Dutuxtanciae prieš Christueron. By 2000 BCE, 448,000 years after the first landing, the Hanunaki civilization on Earth had grown into an empire. But underneath the surface, tensions were building. Two factions had emerged among the Hanunaki leadership. The Enlilites, traditionalists. Led by Commander Enlil's descendants, they believed humans were property, tools created for a purpose. Earth was a colony to be exploited, not a home. Hanunaki must maintain absolute authority. Any human advancement beyond their designed purpose was dangerous. The mission was still temporary. Extract resources, leave nothing behind. The Enkites, progressives. Led by Lord Enki's lineage, they argued, humans had evolved beyond their original design and deserved recognition. Earth had become a second home for many Hanunaki. Hybrid vigor, limited Hanunaki-human relationships, created stronger beings. Cultural exchange enriched both species. Perhaps the mission should be permanent settlement, not exploitation. The breaking point came when humans invented writing. Not the writing the Hanunaki had taught them for record-keeping, new writing, independent writing. Humans were recording their own histories, their own ideas, their own philosophy. Enlil's grandson, Ninurta, brought a clay tablet to the High Council. Look at this. Humans questioning our authority, questioning our divinity. They write, "The gods bleed as we do. They eat as we do. They have conflicts as we do. Perhaps they are not gods at all, merely beings with greater knowledge." This is exactly the problem, declared Lord Marduk, Enki's son. We designed them too well. They're thinking independently now. They're experiencing what we call consciousness. They have become, in essence, a young, intelligent species. Then we must end this experiment, said Ninurta coldly. We have the gold we need. Nibiru's atmosphere has been stabilized. The mission is complete. Time to sterilize the planet and leave." "Sterilize?" gasped Princess Inanna. "You mean genocide? Killing millions of sentient beings?" "Removing an artificial species we created and no longer need," corrected Ninurta. "Like deleting a simulation program." The council split exactly down the middle. Half voted for sterilization, half voted for human preservation. King Anu, now ancient even by Hanunaki standards, made the decision, "The matter is too important to decide hastily. We will reconvene in one Earth year. Both sides will present full proposals. Until then, status quo remains." But both sides knew 1 year was preparation time for war. Chapter 7. The Weapons of the Gods. 1985 BCE, preparation phase. Both factions began preparing for conflict. This wasn't going to be a political debate. This would be war. And when gods fight, civilizations fall. The Enlilite arsenal. Ninurta, military commander of the traditionalists, had access to atmospheric weapons, devices that could manipulate weather, creating floods, droughts, storms on command. Seismic weapons, technology capable of triggering earthquakes and volcanic eruptions by targeting tectonic stress points. Biological weapons, engineered plagues that could target specific DNA markers. That is, only kill humans, not Hanunaki. Nuclear devices, fusion weapons far more advanced than anything humans would develop millennia later. Orbital platforms, space stations capable of firing directed energy beams to any point on Earth's surface. The Enkite defense, Lord Marduk, commanding the progressives, had shield technology, energy barriers that could protect cities from most attacks, genetic sanctuaries, underground vaults where human DNA and Earth species DNA were stored in case of species-wide extinction. Loyalty of human forces, millions of humans who would fight alongside the Enkites, armed with Hanunaki weapons. Control of key facilities. The Enkites held the Great Pyramid, power source, and major spaceports. Diplomatic support from Nibiru. About 40% of Nibiru's population opposed the sterilization plan. But the most important asset was something neither side expected: Enlil Marduk, the last prince. Chapter 8. The Prince Who Would Not Choose. Enlil Marduk was unique among Hanunaki. He was grandson of King Anu, royalty, descended from both Enlil and Enki. His mother was from the Enkite line, his father from the Enlilite line. Born on Earth, not Nibiru, first Hanunaki prince never to see the homeworld. Educated in both Hanunaki science and human philosophy. In love with a human woman named Tiamat, secret forbidden relationship. Both sides courted him. His allegiance could tip the balance. Ninurta offered him command of the Enlilite forces. "Join us. Help cleanse Earth. We'll return to Nibiru as heroes, having completed the mission successfully." Marduk offered him governorship of a human Hanunaki hybrid society. "Join us. Help build something new. Earth can be paradise for both our peoples." Enlil Marduk refused both. "I will not choose a side in a war where both sides are wrong." "Then you choose nothing?" said Ninurta angrily. "In war, neutrality is cowardice." "No," replied Enlil Marduk. "I choose the third path, the path no one is seeing." "What path?" demanded Marduk. "Peace, real peace, not Enlilite domination, not Enkite paternalism, human independence, Hanunaki withdrawal, and a treaty ensuring both species can coexist without one ruling the other." Both commanders laughed. "Humans independent?" scoffed Ninurta. "They'd destroy themselves within a generation." "Perhaps," said Enlil Marduk quietly. "But that would be their choice, their civilization, their fate." "The council will never accept this," said Marduk, though he looked thoughtful. "Then I will make them accept it," said the prince. "One way or another." Chapter 9. The War Begins. 1984 BCE, First Strike. The war began not with a declaration, but with an ambush. Ninurta, believing that a quick, decisive strike would win the war before Enkite forces could fully mobilize, launched simultaneous attacks on 3 major Enkite cities. Eridu, orbital beam weapon fired from space, vaporizing the city center in a flash of light brighter than the sun. 12,000 Hanunaki and 50,000 humans died instantly. Mohenjo-Daro, seismic weapon triggered, causing a massive earthquake, followed by flooding from the Indus River. The city was destroyed, its ruins radioactive. Archaeologists would later find human skeletons with radiation levels similar to Hiroshima victims. Nazca, biological weapon released. A plague engineered to target human DNA. Within days, 90% of the region's human population was dead. The Enkite response was immediate. Marduk activated the Great Pyramid's power systems, creating an electromagnetic pulse that disabled Hanunaki technology in a 500-mile radius. Enlilite forces in Egypt were suddenly without weapons, communications, or flight capability. Then, the real war began. A war that would rage for 12 years and nearly destroy Earth. Major battles. The Siege of Ur. Ninurta's forces surrounded the city for 8 months. Starvation killed 40,000. When the city fell, Ninurta ordered all human survivors executed as a message. The Battle of the Sinai. Both sides deployed nuclear weapons. The desert was turned to glass in places. Later, geologists would find trinitite, a substance that only forms under nuclear explosion conditions. 15,000 combatants died. The flooding of Mesopotamia. Ninurta used weather weapons to create torrential rains for 40 days. Rivers overflowed, flooding the entire region, the origin of flood myths in many cultures. 200,000 humans drowned. The defense of Egypt. Enkite forces, aided by human militia, held Egypt for 4 years against constant Enlilite assault. The Great Pyramid's energy shields protected Cairo, but surrounding regions were devastated. Across Earth, human civilizations collapsed. Millions died. Casualties of a war they didn't start, between gods arguing over whether they had the right to exist. Engagement Moment 3. Are you still with us? This is the truth they don't teach in history class. Show your support, like if this story is opening your eyes. Comment, "It's getting late here, but I can't stop watching." Or whatever applies to you. Where are you watching from? Tell us. Subscribe. Every new subscriber helps us spread truth. Now, let's see how one prince changed everything. Part 3. The Last Prince's Choice. Chapter 10. The Moment of Decision. 1972 BCE, the Council of Last Hope. After 12 years of war, both sides were exhausted. 40% of Hanunaki forces were dead. 70% of Earth's human population had been killed. The planet was scarred, cities destroyed, ecosystems collapsed, the climate destabilized. King Anu, now 450,000 years old, called an emergency council on a neutral space station orbiting Earth. Both faction leaders were commanded to attend. A final decision would be made. The council chamber was grim. Outside the viewing ports, Earth looked small and fragile, swirling blue and white, covered in smoke from 1,000 burning cities. Ninurta spoke first. "The war has proven my point. Humans are dangerous. They've learned to use Hanunaki weapons. Some even reverse-engineered our technology. If we leave Earth without eliminating them, they'll eventually become a threat to Nibiru itself." Marduk countered, "The war has proven my point. Humans are capable. They've adapted, survived, and even thrived despite our conflict. They deserve recognition as sentient beings with rights. "This council will now vote," declared King Anu. "All in favor of total human extermination and Earth abandonment." Hands raised. Ninurta and his faction. The vote was counted. 48 in favor. All in favor of human preservation and Hanunaki human integration. Marduk and his faction raised hands. 47 in favor. A tie. 1 vote short. The decision fell to King Anu. The king looked ancient, weary, burdened by millennia of ruling. He looked at Earth through the viewing port. He thought of the 450,000 years of history on that world. The cities built, the experiments conducted, the millions of beings, Hanunaki and human, who had lived and died there. "I cast the deciding vote," he said slowly, "in favor of extermination." Gasps, shouts. Marduk leaped to his feet. "Father, you can't—" "Silence!" Anu's voice, enhanced by technology, shook the chamber. "I have seen too much death. This war will only continue if both species coexist. Better to end it cleanly. We will evacuate all Hanunaki from Earth. Then we will deploy the atmospheric collapse weapon. Earth's atmosphere will be stripped away. All life will die within hours. The planet will be sterilized. We will mourn, we will remember, but we will end this nightmare." "When?" asked Ninurta, barely containing his satisfaction. "The weapon is already in position," said Anu. "It will fire in 24 hours. That gives us time to evacuate our people. After that," he gestured to Earth, "it will be as if we were never there." The council was dismissed. The decision was final. Humanity had 24 hours. Chapter 11. The Prince's Rebellion. Enlil Marduk had sat silently through the council meeting. Now he stood and walked to the viewing port, staring at Earth. Behind him, council members filed out, already organizing evacuation procedures. In 24 hours, 8 billion years of Earth's evolutionary history would end. "You could have spoken," said Princess Inanna, approaching him. "You're the prince. Your voice carries weight." "Would it have mattered?" he asked. The decision was already made before the vote. "So you'll do nothing? Just watch it happen?" Enlil Marduk turned to face her. In his eyes was something she hadn't seen before. Determination. "I didn't say I'd do nothing." "What can you do? The weapon is already positioned. It's locked to Anu's biometric signature. Only he can stop it." "Then I'll make him stop it." "How?" Enlil Marduk smiled grimly. "By making the cost of firing it too high to pay." The plan. Over the next 20 hours, Enlil Marduk enacted a desperate plan. Step 1. Steal the genetic archives. He broke into the secure vault containing the DNA records of every species on Earth, millions of years of genetic data, irreplaceable. He broadcast a message. "I have the archives. If Earth is destroyed, I destroy these too. All that data, all that research, 450,000 years of work, lost forever." Step 2. Rally human forces. He contacted human leaders across Earth, those still alive after the war. "The Hanunaki plan to kill you all in 4 hours. But I can stop it. I need your help. Gather everyone who can fight. Prepare for one last stand." 200,000 humans responded. Armed with scavenged Hanunaki weapons, they surrounded the Great Pyramid, the primary power source for the atmospheric weapon. Step 3. Force a choice. Enlil Marduk positioned himself at the Great Pyramid's control center. He sent a message to the council. "I am Enlil Marduk, last prince of Hanunaki, first prince born on Earth. I stand with the humans. If you fire the atmospheric weapon, I will overload the Great Pyramid's reactor. The resulting explosion will destroy the weapon, all nearby Hanunaki installations, and kill me along with the 200,000 humans defending this position. You will have your sterilization, but you will lose your prince and heir. 450,000 years of genetic research. The respect of every being who learns what you did here. Any chance of returning to Earth in the future, the radiation will last 100,000 years. Or you can stand down, evacuate peacefully, leave Earth to humans, let them forge their own destiny. You have 4 hours, choose. Chapter 12, The Sacred Standoff. The council reconvened in emergency session. King Anu's face was a mask of fury. He dares to threaten us? To threaten his own grandfather? He's not threatening, said Marduk quietly. He's making a point, that the cost of extermination is too high. We can override the pyramid's controls, suggested Ninurta. Not in 4 hours, said the chief engineer. The prince has locked us out. It would take days to regain access. We can destroy the pyramid from orbit, said Ninurta. That would kill our prince, said Princess Inanna. Acceptable loss, said Ninurta coldly. No, roared Anu. He is my grandson, my heir, the last prince of our bloodline. Silence fell. Everyone understood. This was no longer about humans. This was about dynasty, legacy, the future of the royal family. Perhaps, said Marduk carefully, we should hear the prince's full proposal. Enlil Marduk's proposal, transmitted from the pyramid. Honored council, grandfather, father, all assembled, I propose this. The Treaty of Final Departure. All Hanunaki will evacuate Earth within 60 days. All technology above Bronze Age level will be dismantled or taken. Humans will be granted full independence and sovereignty over Earth. Hanunaki promise never to return to conquer or control. A monitoring station on the moon will observe human development from distance. If humans develop space travel on their own, they may seek diplomatic contact. All genetic records will be sealed and given to both species. The Great Pyramid and select structures will be left as monuments, proof of our shared history. In exchange, 1. Humans will not pursue Hanunaki or seek revenge. 2. Humans will not attempt to recreate Hanunaki weapons technology. 3. Humans will accept that they must forge their own civilization without divine intervention. This is the path of honor, the path where both species survive with dignity. I await your response. The countdown continues. King Anu stared at the transmission. Outside the station, Earth turned slowly, beautiful and broken. What say you, Council? He asked quietly. Who votes to accept the prince's treaty? One by one, hands rose. First the Enkites, predictably. Then, surprisingly, several Enlilites. Ninurta remained seated, arms crossed. This is surrender. No, said Anu. This is wisdom. He raised his hand. I vote to accept. The motion passes. He opened a channel to Earth. Enlil Marduk, stand down. The treaty is accepted. Humanity will live. Chapter 13, The Last Goodbye. 1972 BCE, 60 days later, final evacuation. The Hanunaki ships lifted off from Earth in groups, a fleet of thousands, carrying the survivors of a 450,000-year colonization. They left behind the pyramids of Egypt, Mexico, and South America, stone structures too massive to dismantle, underground chambers filled with sealed technology, genetic markers in human DNA, stories that would become myths, legends, religions. Enlil Marduk was the last to leave. He stood at the Great Pyramid at sunset, looking across the Nile at the city that would become Cairo. Tiamat, his human love, stood beside him. You're really leaving? I must. The treaty requires all Hanunaki to depart. You could stay. Renounce your heritage. Become human. He smiled sadly. I cannot. I'm bound to them by blood, by duty. But I will watch from the moon station. And perhaps Thousands of years from now, when your people reach the stars on their own, we will meet again as equals. Will humans remember you? Some will. Stories will be told. But details will blur, become myth. That's as it should be. Humanity must not worship us as gods. They must find their own path. They embraced one last time. Then Enlil Marduk walked up the boarding ramp of the last ship. As it lifted off, he looked down at Earth one final time, at the blue planet that had been his home, at the species he had saved. "Be worthy of this gift," he whispered. "Become more than we made you. Surpass us and forgive us." The ship accelerated, broke orbit, and disappeared into the darkness between stars. Epilogue: The Legacy. Present day, the Hanunaki never returned. They kept their word, but they left clues, evidence, mysteries, the DNA evidence. Modern humans have 2 to 4% of DNA that scientists can't explain. Sudden evolutionary leaps that shouldn't be possible through natural selection. 223 genes that appear to have no evolutionary predecessors. The archaeological anomalies, pyramids aligned to astronomical features with impossible precision, megalithic structures built with technology that shouldn't have existed, ancient maps showing continents before they were discovered, Sumerian texts describing gods from the sky in detail matching advanced technology. The cultural memory. Every ancient civilization has flood myths, the war's weather weapons. Every culture has sky gods who created humans and then left, recurring motifs of gods interbreeding with humans. Universal stories of a golden age, followed by divine abandonment. The monitoring station. On the moon's dark side, invisible to Earth, sits a station. Automated, silent, watching, waiting. Waiting for humanity to reach the stars on its own power. Waiting to see if the experiment ultimately succeeds or fails. Waiting to see if humanity transcends its creation or destroys itself. Enlil Marduk programmed the station before he left. It will activate when humans land there with their own technology. It contains a message. To the children of Earth, you have survived. You have endured. You have reached for the stars without our help. You are no longer our creation. You are your own species, masters of your own destiny. We were your parents, but like all parents, we had to let you go. The galaxy awaits you. Walk among the stars, not as our children, but as our equals. Remember us if you wish. Forgive us if you can. But above all, be free. Enlil Marduk, last prince of Hanunaki. That message waits still. For the day humanity returns to the moon. For the moment we finally learn the truth. The question is, are we ready for it? The end. Thank you, global truth seekers. We've reached the end of this 45-minute journey into humanity's possible origins. Whether you believe it literally or metaphorically, the questions it raises are profound. Who are we? Where do we come from? Are we alone? If this story expanded your mind, here's how you can help our channel grow. Smash that like button. We need 10,000 likes to trigger YouTube's algorithm. Subscribe and hit notifications. We're at X subscribers now. Help us reach X goal. Comment right now with your country and city, what time it is where you are, whether you're watching alone, with friends, late at night, during lunch break, etc. One word describing how this story made you feel. What ancient mystery you want us to explore next. Share this video. Post it everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, WhatsApp groups. The truth needs to spread. Coming soon to this channel, the Antarctica Secret. What's really under the ice? Easter Island Mystery. Who really built the Moai? The Dead Sea Scrolls. What they didn't want you to read, Atlantis found. New evidence of the lost civilization, the Illuminati history, separating fact from conspiracy. Subscribe now so you don't miss these revelations. The real questions. This story is based on interpretations of Sumerian cuneiform texts, specifically the Enuma Elish and Epic of Gilgamesh, ancient astronaut theories, Zecharia Sitchin's work, archaeological anomalies mainstream science can't fully explain, genetic mysteries in human DNA, universal flood myths across disconnected cultures. Is it literal history? Metaphorical truth? Ancient memory encoded in myth? You decide. But consider this. What if even 10% is true? What would that mean for evolution theory, religious origin stories, human potential, our place in the universe? Why we're really here? These aren't frivolous questions. They're fundamental. Join the conversation. We're building a community of people who question official narratives, seek hidden truths, examine ancient wisdom, connect mysterious dots, think critically but openly. Drop a comment if you have experiences that mainstream science can't explain, have researched ancient mysteries, have theories about human origins, want to connect with other truth seekers, just want to say hi to the global community. Tell us where you are, what time it is, and why you're still watching at this hour. Let's see how far our community reaches. Support the channel. Creating these deep dive videos takes 40+ hours of research per video, professional narration and editing, consulting with experts and researchers, careful fact-checking of historical claims, weeks of script writing and revision. Your support through likes and comments, free, subscriptions, free, sharing, free, watching to the end, you're doing it. Helps us continue producing high-quality content about the mysteries that matter. Every subscriber counts. Every like matters. Every share spreads truth. One last thing. If you've watched all 45 minutes of this story, you're different from most people. You're curious, you question, you seek. The world needs more people like you. So thank you for your time, your attention, your open mind. Now go share this story. Let's wake up the world together. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, location plus time. Share everywhere. Until next time, keep seeking truth. The answers are out there. And who knows? Maybe Enlil Marduk is watching from the moon even now, waiting to see if humanity will finally learn the truth. See you in the next revelation, truth seekers. Bonus question for comments. If you could ask the Hanunaki one question, what would it be? Comment below. Most upvoted question will be featured in our next video. Ancient truth revelations, expanding minds, one story at a time.